We're going to be coming back to this. I'm going to talk to you from time to time. There's some interesting, still these are active theoretical issues going on in economics, a lot of exciting things in microeconomics of behavior today in terms of this idea, well, truly, are decisions that purposeful? Are economic actors, as we use the term, rational? Do they really see this purpose? Because there's examples of behavior where perhaps that's not the case. For example, this is a classic one that's used in the United States all the time. You know, a customer who comes in, and I would imagine in your country it's close to the same, whether it's in yuan or dollars or RMB, the person would buy something at $1.99, but they won't buy it at $2. And this is what's called framing. And it clearly appears that $2 or $1.99 are exactly the same number, but in fact it changes how people perceive or frame a question, and it doesn't seem that that should impact choice at all, but in point of fact it does. So we'll come back to some of those things. They're quite interesting. All right, let's see if I can get it to move on. Up, okay. I think I went the wrong way. All right, wait a minute. I'm having more trouble than, hang on, all right, here. All right, now let me see if I can get it to go forward. Next. All right, hang on 1 minute. It's still not going forward. So let me try, let me step out of the line here. All right. All right. Now, management science. I'm not going to, obviously not being a manager, I mean someone who has a degree in management, though I managed both in the American military and in corporations, and I have a lot of management experience. I'm not going to be able to say as much about management science as your management professors and marketing professors will be. So we're going to take this definition as a given. The science of organizing and allocating a firm's scarce resources to achieve its desired results. You can read that as well as I can read it. And Peter Drucker, I certainly think, has had a great deal to do with this sort of notion and there might be some debate, and in my mind there's some debate in terms of using the term science here, just as I would have some debate about using the term science to apply to economics, but the science of management is what Peter Drucker is noted for. Okay, so we're going to move on. Let's see if I can get it to work from this side. Nope, so I'm going to step out, and I'll click it over here. And then, of course, managerial economics then is the interface between both of these ideas. And I think it's, to me, this particular course, and I hope as we spend our time together you can see my exuberance. I just really enjoy this course. I think it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of things that you can learn from the interface of management and economics. Okay, so let's move on. Let me click again. Okay, now, what are the kinds of questions that managers want to know where economics can really be useful in helping us understand them? Market structure, often called conduct in performance. We're going to take a look at this, and we're going to be looking at 4 different market structures that will apply to the United States economy, but to make it more broadly applicable to you, there are really 2 market structures, in my opinion, that matter. There are markets in which, in deciding what price and output decision to make, production decision to make, the firms are not interdependent with each other. They don't pay attention to that decision made by their competition. So let's think of the classic example of this would be an industry or a market structure in which there was just simply one firm. We call that in the United States monopoly. A monopolist has no competition, could care less than about the price and output decisions of others because they're not in the same market. The second type of market structure which we're going to pay attention to is one that's interdependent. And this is very interesting, certainly more apropos to a global marketing context. And that is as a firm in an interdependent market type. Okay? As I set my price and as I set my output, I've got to understand, and this is the key here, that there will be a pricing and output response from my competition. Okay? we're going to end up looking in one of the more exciting tools that I like in terms of looking at this, and I hope you'll come away with some excitement about it too, is it's called game theory. And this really is an interesting area. Game theory first started being used by Oscar Morgenstern and others in really right after World War II, 1947. But it was also the area for which John Nash won the Nobel Prize in economics. And you may or may not be aware of the very popular movie in the late 90s in this country called A Beautiful Mind, about John Nash's life and struggle. Interestingly, he was schizophrenic, I believe, but a brilliant economist and mathematician. Okay, so this issue of market structure, I think you may be exposed to Porter's 5 forces model. We'll come back to those kinds of things. Again, market structure, also called conduct and performance, but to me the issue, by way of review, is whether, as I set my price and output decision, do I expect a response from my competition or do I not? Interdependent and non-interdependent. Second area for me is supply and demand, big issues for us and almost anywhere in the world, supply and demand matter, but we're going to talk a great deal about those, and we're going to divide, we're going to really sort of do a lot of digging to get behind the basics of what supply and demand are all about. And then technology. Technology is going to be troublesome for us. Let me just be honest with you here. And it's going to be troublesome for us for the following reason. Technology is really something just like the amount of labor you hire, just like the amount of money that you have to spend on a product, okay? However, I can measure the number of workers I have. I can measure how much capital I'm spending. But the question is, how do I measure how much technology I have? Aha, and you're all saying to yourself, ho, ho, that's easy. It's computers, okay? Or it's this equipment that we're using here, or it's the internet. No, that's not technology. That's capital equipment. Technology does change, and technology impacts how we combine our inputs at lower cost or higher cost. But the point is, surprisingly, technology is going to be a problem for us, okay? Because we don't have very good ways of measuring technology. Let me see if it'll let me change it up here. Okay, and then questions managers must answer. Okay, what are the economic conditions in our market types? Government regulations, international dimensions, future conditions, and then macro factors. One of the things that I do a lot of work in is this sort of future conditions issue, and this is forecasting and business forecasting. And I don't know if you, I doubt if you're going to have a course in forecasting in your EMBA, but if you do get an opportunity to do some work in the statistics of forecasting, I think you'll find that quite interesting. As a manager, okay, in my years in the corporate sector, macroeconomics, it's important to understand the macroeconomic drivers, but generally for us as managers, we sort of take the macroeconomy as given. My decisions as a manager of a business, big or small, generally I don't affect monetary policy or exchange rates or something like that. So generally I'm going to say that yes, macroeconomics is out there, but I don't, as a decision maker, as a manager, I don't have a lot to do with macroeconomics. All right. Now, this is an interesting question, okay? One of the questions that, and this is what's so fun about this question, is should our firm be in this business? I was really thrilled when I saw this slide given the book, but when I was at the Adolf Coors Company, I was the manager of research, so I did short-term product forecasting, long-term product forecasting, and I was involved with the group that what was called competitive business unit analysis. One of the questions that the board of directors that Bill Coors asked us to look at is a version of this question here. Here was the question that we were asked to take a look at. Excuse me. If the Adolf Coors Company, and we made beer in glass containers, in big aluminum kegs, and in aluminum cans, okay, for the consumer market. 70% of our product was sold in what we in the United States call grocery stores, okay?